Hi everybody, today we are going to be talking about the four fundamental forces of nature, which are the gravitational force, electromagnetic force, the strong force, and the weak force. First strength we have is gravity, and gravity is important because it binds the solar system. And the relative strength of this is very weak. In fact, it is the weakest of all the attractive forces. The interaction distance is very long range because, as you know, the forces of our planets are very far apart from each other. So we need a long range force that can keep our solar system together. This force is attractive. It attracts the planets together in our solar system. And the force acts on or between two objects with mass. This doesn't necessarily have to be planets. It can also be a person and a sidewalk. They're being attracted together because they both have mass. And this is important because, one, it keeps the planets in orbit, and two, it attracts things to Earth's surface. And next we have electromagnetism. Electromagnetism is the force that binds atoms together. And the relative strength is very strong. It takes a lot of force to keep atoms together, and it interacts over a very long range. And this force is interesting because it can either be attractive or repulsive. Some atoms might repel and some might attract. And this occurs between two objects with any kind of electric charge. And this is very important because it, first of all, binds negative electrons to positive nuclei to form atoms, but it also binds atoms together to form molecules. Next, we have the strong force, and the strong force binds the nucleus of an atom. The relative strength of this force is very strong once again, except this time it is a very, very short range. As you know, the nucleus is very tiny, so this force only needs about 10 to the negative fifth meters. And this force is attractive. It always wants to keep the nucleus together instead of pushing those particles apart. And it holds together protons and neutrons. It's a binding force. And why is this important? This is important because it holds the nucleus together when electric forces are trying to take it apart. And lastly, we have the weak force. The weak force is important throughout radioactive decay. And the relative strength of the weak force is stronger than gravity, but it happens to be weaker than our electromagnetic force and strong nuclear forces. So it's right in the middle. And the interaction distance is again a short range. It occurs with 10 to the negative 18th meters. And the type of force is attractive. And it exists between quarks. And quarks are particles that make up the proton and neutrons. They're like subatomic particles. And these are important because without it, the sun would not shine. And because it allows protons to change into neutrons, allowing nuclear fusion. So once again, we covered the 4 fundamental forces of nature: gravity, electromagnetism, the strong force, and the weak force.